The Department for Work and Pensions has recently confirmed important changes to the winter fuel payment that will directly affect millions of older people across the United Kingdom. For many pensioners, this payment is not just an additional benefit, but a vital form of support to manage energy bills during the colder months. Traditionally, the winter fuel payment has been provided automatically to households where at least one individual has reached the qualifying age, and it has often included additional top-ups in the form of cost-of-living support. However, with the government reviewing its budget and implementing targeted adjustments, there are new eligibility rules and payment structures that pensioners must now be aware of. /N/ and the standard winter fuel payment amount ranges between £100 and £300, depending on age and household circumstances. In recent years, this was temporarily supplemented with an additional cost of living payment that brought the total to as much as £600 for some pensioner households. The government has now clarified that this extra support was linked to exceptional circumstances surrounding rising energy prices and broader inflationary pressures. As those schemes begin to wind down, pensioners may no longer see the higher amounts they became accustomed to over the past 2 winters. Instead, for the upcoming winter season, the core entitlement will return to the standard range of £100 to £300, with only certain households qualifying for the higher end of that scale. /N/ eligibility remains tied to age and residency. In order to qualify, an individual must have been born on or before the qualifying date set by the Department for Work and Pensions. For the upcoming winter, this date has been confirmed as September 22nd of 1959. Anyone who was born on or before that date will generally be entitled to a winter fuel payment, provided they meet other conditions such as residency in the United Kingdom during the qualifying week. This qualifying week is usually in September, and it is the period the Department for Work and Pensions uses to determine whether a person will automatically receive the payment. /N/ automatic entitlement is an important feature of this scheme. Most pensioners do not need to apply, as long as they are already receiving the state pension or certain other social security benefits, such as pension credit or specific income-based allowances. The Department for Work and Pensions cross-checks records, and payments are issued directly into bank accounts during November and December. For many households, this means the winter fuel payment arrives before Christmas, providing essential support at a time when heating costs are often at their highest. However, those who have recently moved to the United Kingdom, or those who have never received the payment before, may need to actively apply. In such cases, the application deadline usually falls at the end of March following the winter season. /N/ none of the most significant adjustments announced this year concerns pensioners who live abroad. In the past, many individuals who had built up entitlement through working years in the United Kingdom, but later retired to countries within the European Economic Area or Switzerland, were still eligible. This entitlement has been gradually restricted, and the Department for Work and Pensions has confirmed that for the current cycle, eligibility abroad will be far narrower. Only those residing in countries with average winter temperatures comparable to the United Kingdom will remain entitled, which excludes popular retirement destinations such as Spain and Portugal. This change is likely to affect tens of thousands of retired British citizens who are now being told they no longer qualify. /N/ another important detail concerns the link between the winter fuel payment and other benefits. Households where an individual is also in receipt of pension credit, income support, income-related employment and support allowance, or income-based job seekers allowance may receive a higher amount. In practice, this often means that vulnerable pensioners, such as those living alone or those on low incomes, could receive as much as £300. The government has stressed that it wishes to protect the most financially vulnerable, but critics argue that rolling back the additional cost of living top-up at a time when energy bills remain elevated could leave many households struggling. /N/, the delivery schedule remains a crucial point of concern for pensioners. The Department for Work and Pensions has confirmed that payments will begin in the third week of November and continue into December. Most pensioners should expect the money by Christmas Eve, though the official guidance is that funds may arrive as late as the end of January if there are delays or complications in eligibility checks. Pensioners are strongly advised to check their bank accounts and their award letters from the Department for Work and Pensions. If the payment does not arrive by the end of January, they should immediately contact the Winter Fuel Payment Center to ensure that their entitlement is not overlooked. /N/, there are also implications for tax and reporting. Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs has clarified that the winter fuel payment is generally tax-free and does not affect eligibility for other benefits. However, it does need to be reported if an individual is making a tax return. Pensioners who receive private pensions or additional income streams should be mindful of this point. While the payment itself will not trigger higher tax liabilities, it may still need to be included in the total income calculation. /N/, these changes come at a time when broader reforms to pensions and benefits are being closely scrutinized. The Department for Work and Pensions has recently confirmed an increase to the state pension under the triple lock mechanism, which will take effect in April of 2026. Under this system, the state pension rises by the highest of average earnings growth, inflation, or 2.5%. While this policy continues to provide some protection for pensioners, there are ongoing debates about its long-term sustainability. Many analysts argue that with the cost of living still elevated, the combination of reduced winter fuel payments and modest pension increases could leave some retirees in financial difficulty. /N/, is also worth noting the interaction with universal credit and other working age benefits. While the winter fuel payment itself is not counted as income for universal credit purposes, households that contain both pensioners and working age adults may see complexities in how support is distributed. The government has urged claimants to check the official guidance and to ensure that their details are up to date with both the Department for Work and Pensions and Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. /N, for those who wish to verify their entitlement. The Department for Work and Pensions has published clear guidance on the government website. Pensioners can also contact the Winter Fuel Payment helpline by telephone. It is particularly important for those who live abroad, those who have recently moved, or those who have not previously received the payment to take action early. Missing the March deadline for applications could result in losing the payment entirely for the year. /N/, summary. The winter fuel payment continues to provide vital support to millions of pensioners across the United Kingdom. But the changes announced this year mean that fewer people will see the higher amounts that were temporarily available during the recent cost of living crisis. The standard entitlement of between £100 and £300 remains, with eligibility determined by age, residency, and benefit status. Payments will be made automatically for most pensioners between November and December, but some individuals will need to apply. With restrictions tightening for those living abroad, and with the additional cost of living top-up no longer in place, pensioners must carefully check their situation to ensure they are still eligible and prepared for the winter ahead.